Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're excited to have Joe Dalton, the founder of JD Business Coaching. Joe brings over 30 years of experience in business development, sales, and marketing from Ireland, where he's built the reputation as a trusted business coach and speaker. He's the author of Sales Craft, a guide to mastering deal closing, and host of the award-winning Breakthrough Brands podcast. Through JD Business Coaching, he's empowering entrepreneurs and business owners to skyrocket their profits and leadership skills. We'll be exploring his founding story, how his business transforms clients in the sales and leadership space, and his vision for scaling this mission-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Joe, welcome to Founders Future.
Well, thank you very much. And I have to say, whoever that guy was you were speaking about, I need to get him on my podcast. He sounds amazing.
Luckily for us, we have him on ours. So truly grateful to have you on today, Joe. And would love to start at the top, right, for our listeners here. So if you can, take us back to the beginning, Joe. What specific problem in the business coaching or sales landscape really inspired you to start JD Business Coaching?
Well, wow, that's a great question. And let me go back maybe 3 decades.
Yeah.
Let's go back to sales. Let's go even further back where, I, at the age of 13, was speaking to someone with a little baked potato stand, and they gave me money and I handed over a baked potato and I went, oh my God, this is really cool. And then years later, when I was about 18 or 19, I got a job selling office equipment. And basically it was working in a shop. Your first job, well, it wasn't my first job, my first sales job
Right.
at that time. And I picked up a briefcase and a brochure from the counter and I jumped on a train and I went down to the local biggest town that we had and I cold called and knocked on every door. And from doing that, I came back to the business and said, I've got some orders. So I knew that there was something about sales that actually could help me write my own paycheck. Years later, then, I was taught how to sell. And when I was taught how to sell professionally, my income skyrocketed. The reason why I'm telling you this story is because 3 decades later, I find there's a lot of business owners, there's a lot of founders that have great ideas, have amazing products, they know who their customers are, but there's a bridge missing and they can't figure out what that bridge is. So what we do is come in and we build that bridge for them. Now, that bridge could be a system, a process, and definitely a behavior change. But one of the things that we need to try and help them with, or we do help them with, is that implementation of how do I not close deals, because closing a deal is easy, but how do I walk someone through the whole sales process, get an agreement, build trust, and have everlasting relationship.
Love it. I absolutely love that. So with that in mind, of course, Joe, you have so much experience. So with building JD Business Coaching's offer, how has that evolved so far from what you provide, like your Close the Deal program, your one-on-one coaching, and who you serve? How's that changed since you first started JD Business Coaching?
Well, in the very beginning, like any business owner and founder, it's, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I've got a job, I have to put food on the table, I have family to feed. So like everything, we have great ideas and it can be a bit nervous. And the one thing that I realized in life, you have to go and get it. We are all great at building sales funnels and we are all great at, that driving that traffic in. But the real thing that we need to do is speak to people. And speaking to people, you need to actually build relationships. So as time has gone on, the stuff that we've learned, so tweak, test, tweak, we then get it right, and then we show our clients that. Example, years ago, I cold call. I don't believe personally in cold calling anymore because of the platforms that we have. We don't need to cold call anymore. All we need to do is introduce yourself to people and then pick up the phone and call them, because it likes LinkedIn and Facebook and other platforms out there as well. So what we're really trying to do and help people with is make that connection. If you like someone, they like you, and if they like you, they buy off you. That's what I was told when I was 20, and I still believe that today.
Absolutely. I love that. So, I mean, with the immense experience that you do have, Joe, I'm sure that you've come across many different spectrums of people and ideologies. So what's a misconception that you can point to that people often have or that you hear about the business coaching industry, whether, around its value to entrepreneurs or its scalability as a business? What's something there that you'd like to address?
Yeah, the one thing, everybody needs a mentor.
Mm.
Everybody needs a coach. I have a mentor. I have two mentors actually. And I have, they tell me stuff that is a blind spot in my business. And I laugh because I go, I actually tell my clients that. And sometimes what I've learned through the years, that the person who's running a business may be the problem. Now, let me explain that to you. And I was looking at our business a couple of years ago, and I was going, we have the sales funnel, and we have the sales, and we've got everything, but we're not breaking through that ceiling of turning it into millions. What's the problem? And I had a quick look, and I said, what the problem is? It's me. I'm the problem. It's my mindset. And I had to go back and look at my life. And I can remember going back to an early age where I remember there was a conversation with my parents about lack of. And what I was able to do was address that and then clear that mindset, what actually allowed me to scale. Because sometimes when we create systems, processes, and behaviors, we actually then, there might be something in there that is self-sabotaging us. So get a mentor, get a coach, and look at reality, and your business will scale. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. And that's incredible, honestly, hearing that and how you're looking at that and your mindset behind it. So, I mean, with that being said, I would definitely love to get into the nuts and bolts. I know our listeners would love to get into it because a lot of our listeners kind of fit right into what you're doing, right? It can really use your help here. So walk us through a bit here, Joe, of how you're generating revenue today with JD Business Coaching. Exactly what our listeners can expect to see when they come to you. So your core offer, how it's structured for the clients, and really what they can expect.
Well, we look at the essence. The first thing is what we do is we'll speak to an organization and find out what their true essence is. The thing that gets that person up in the morning, their passion, their desire, what they bring to the table. So we do, a big, huge conversation, fact finding with them to find out what they do. The next part of that is we then look at who their audience is and then find out what those people need and want. And then we mash the two of them together. And mash isn't probably the right word, but we consolidate the two together.
Right.
And then from there, what we do, we then look at, okay, how do we package this up? And then from packaging it up, we go, how do we sell it? And then from selling it, how do we actually scale, get them to scale? But what we've really learned from it as well is there's part of the essence that the customer has inside. So we help them write a book. So we develop and get our clients to write books. Then we get our clients then to do a podcast. And not only a podcast like you interviewing me, we interview our clients. So we do 10 podcasts that we interview our clients. Can I pause this for 1 second, please? So what we help our clients with, we find out what their true essence is. And then what we do is we help them create a non-fiction book. We then also help them with a podcast. So we interview them. So we'll get 10 episodes, interview them, so they're telling about their business as well. And then from there, we then teach them how to generate leads. I really believe in reciprocity, the law of reciprocity. You do something nice for someone, and in return, they'll do something nice for you. And that is when they have a book and they send it out to someone as a free gift, that person then feels, I'll have a conversation with them. And by using that, it's prospecting. And the one thing about a book, no one ever throws out a book. And if you send out a book, so what we do to our clients when we're prospecting, we'll send out a book, we'll get a handwritten note, and we'll send that in the post. And by doing that, the people have it, and they go, oh, sits on their desk, it's a silent seller, and it means that you're always in their mind as well. And then we're using in podcasting, and then we have email marketing, and I don't believe in spamming people to death. So our marketing strategy with email marketing is send out a piece of advice every week forever without pitching. Just give them some sort of content which is of value to them, an insight that they can help in their business. And by doing all these, you eventually build credibility, you're building trust, and you're also then those people will have a call. Sales isn't about the quick win. It's not about closing the deal today. It's about coming a partnership with someone, and you may speak to them today, and they might buy off you in 6 months or a year when they're ready. But the longer you do that, the bigger the business grows.
So, I mean, on that same front there, Joe, I know that you're doing a ton of business consulting services, really being able to take that business to the next level. Do you also offer that one-on-one coaching for founders? Do you do group coaching? What does that look like on that front?
I love one-to-ones.
Yeah.
I don't need lots of clients.
Yeah.
30 years experience working in the US, working in Europe. I've been called into the European Union to speak about developing marketing strategies for small businesses. I've been called into embassies where, they've had multiple delegates from all Eastern Europe, and I was advising them on bringing business into Europe. So for myself, it's not having hundreds. I only work with about maybe 10 clients a year. And the reason why I only work with them is because I can give them the time and I share my expertise with them, and they can speak to me every week. And that's what I love doing. That's what I love doing.
It's incredible. So on that same front, I know that you're only working with 10 clients a year, but what's working well for the acquisition side of things? What's really working well to get those clients in the door for you?
Grit.
Yeah.
What's working well for is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, a lot of people use LinkedIn and there's a lot of posting on LinkedIn, but you have to have a different mindset when it comes to LinkedIn. And for ourselves, we look at LinkedIn as a networking tool. So can I paint this little picture for you? Do you do networking? Do you go to networking events?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you go to a networking event?
Oh, you meet so many people.
So you meet one person. So what happens? I want you to, in your mind, visualize how you meet that person. So you walk into the room and you may give them a nod, and then you'll go over and go hi, talk to them, you'll shake their hands, and then you'll talk a little bit about business or what each of you do. Would I be correct in saying that?
Correct.
So LinkedIn, you go into LinkedIn, you look at a profile. That's like you walking into a networking meeting and giving someone a wave or a nod, correct?
Yep.
You then send them a request, an invitation request. That's like you shaking hands. Yeah?
Correct.
They accept your request they shake your hand back.
Mm.
Instead of you saying, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" you look at their profile and they look at your profile.
Mm.
So that's like you walking into a networking meeting, giving someone a nod. How's it going? What do you do for a living?
Mm.
Do you see what I'm trying to visualize with the power of LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
And from there, you create what? A conversation. And you don't have your conversation about me, myself, and I. You ask them, tell me a little bit about yourself and your business. Because you know in sales, people like talking about themselves. And you
That's
build that relationship.
that is for sure. So obviously LinkedIn organic outreach is working best for you to really hit that goal of having those 10 deals a year for you. So as far as the process looks, as you know, your sales process from start to finish, so initial contact with the client to signing them to a deal, is this something that you're dealing with personally? Do you have, a team in place, a
I
sales
have a
team?
team in place as well. Yeah, we have a small team in place. So we have someone who will go through LinkedIn Navigator, which is like a Rolodex, and they will go through LinkedIn. They'll have a look to see. So it's not just grab and dump. They have a look to see who fits the profile. A founder or owner earning over a couple of million a year,
Mhm.
have X amount of employees. They're looking at what industry they're in, so they'll be the people. And then once that initially is done, if someone reacts, I'm happy to get involved. We also then have another member of staff who was a producer, an engineer, and then they work with the podcasting part of it, and there's different elements of it. And then there's a small team behind us as well, like as I say, my own consultants and mentors and everything that actually then look at how we can build that business and those relationships. The thing is, we love posting content. I've been doing podcasting a long time. Initially, it's 30 years of experience and refining the language and the communication that we're using on a day-to-day basis, because everything is a language and a communication, not what's just going on outside, but what's going on inside the company as well. Build that culture that you want and that leadership, and then show people how to do that themselves as well. So our sales process, for me, I kind of go, it's quite simple,
Yeah.
because I've refined it and got better and better and better and better and better as well. So that's the one element. You asked me there as well, prospecting. We're just in the process of launching a bigger campaign, and we're going to be using paid advertising. And that paid advertising, we're building bundles around that. And from there, we're looking to get people into a community. And we're developing that whole system that we'll have ready in about 2, 3 months. And that's for the people that would love to work with us, but unfortunately, their businesses aren't there at that level to actually take us on or to become partners with us.
Amazing. Amazing. So, I mean, you clearly have so many things going on right now, Joe. You guys have kind of really unlocked the key and have the key to unlock the door, per se, for growth, right? So, would you point, is there a bottleneck right now that you can point to growing, whether that be lead generation, converting into clients, delivering with your current capacity, or, how does that look as far as the bottleneck goes?
Well, as far as bottlenecks go, it used to be time.
Mm.
And we can have all the systems, all the processes, we can have all the platforms and tools, but the only one thing that we haven't got more of, and that's time.
Yes.
So I had to sit down and go, how can I get my time back? And by getting time, it was hiring in people that could facilitate part of that time. And I also became very disciplined. And part of my discipline was I wanted to get up 2 hours earlier than I
Mm.
normally get up. Being a night owl, I like to stay up till after midnight and walk the corridors. and I'm terrible in the morning. But what I actually went, okay, I need to be disciplined and get up earlier to give me some of that extra time. So that's where we're working on. Yeah. So bottleneck is people's time. And you know this, if someone calls us in, you or me in, they're buying back some of that time, because what
Yes.
they're doing is they're buying in expertise to actually cut through them trying to do it. Now, your organization, my organization,
Mhm.
can fast track a company. They can do it themselves if they want, but it could take them years. Or they could do it with us and could take them months.
Absolutely. Well, with that in mind, this has been so insightful. I know that many of our listeners are going to be looking at you right after we publish this. But what is your vision, top priorities wise for growing JD over the next 6 to 12 months? What are you laser focused on here, Joe?
What am I laser focused on? It's funny. I'm sat down and I made a list there the other day.
Yep.
Um, and what we're laser focused on is to turn this into millions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the goal for us is not to make a million, but to, knock this up into the millions.
I love it. I love it. Well, on that same front, being that that's the goal of yours, how do you see the business coaching industry evolving in the coming years, and how are you positioning yourself to achieve that goal with the evolution that you're picturing?
I think the more and more people are coming up to be CEOs,
Mm,
founders, owners. And, I have the privilege of had some great mentors through the years. Like one of my greatest mentors was my sister. My sister brought Apple to Ireland and knew Steve Jobs. So she basically brought the Apple, which, they made, I think they owed the government 33 billion last year, the year before.
yeah.
She was a great mentor. And the one piece of advice she would have given me was make a decision.
Mm,
Most business owners and founders don't make decisions, so their businesses stay where they are. So, what you need to do is make a decision. If it's the wrong decision, that's okay because you can make another decision,
mm,
but you keep moving forward. But if they don't or you don't do anything, you will stay stuck. So, the question that we have is the coaching industry is just going to get bigger because I've lived through a couple of recessions and I've made money in recessions.
mm.
I've walked, we're talking 3 decades. There's a lot of business behind me. And why people value coaching and mentoring is not only because they have someone that can actually share the pain that they have as a founder and an owner, because it's a lonely job,
Mm.
but also being able to express some past experience and some knowledge and wisdom that they can actually use to grow their business. We all have football coaches. Some people have great fathers. It's all about that person that you listen to who gave that advice to you to help you grow. And what I've learned over the years is all the external stuff is garbage. It doesn't matter. It's what goes on inside your head that matters. So we have about 80,000 thoughts that go through our head, so they say. And they say that there's about 60,000 of them are negative.
Mm.
And what you need to do is stop focusing externally and focus on what's going on. Be positive, hang around with positive people, self-love, self-awareness, all these things that attribute to making you a great person. And if you look after what's going on inside, outside improves and things just get better and better and better. So what am I doing then as to grow the business is to become a better leader, to become a better person, to become a better founder, to become a better owner, and to help my staff that to see not just to be the boss, but actually to be someone that they can look up to and inspire to be. And let me say this, would you rather be a boss that when you die and everyone hates you and think you're an ass and no one turns up here for your funeral? Or would you rather be the boss that everyone goes, God, I learned from him. He shared so much information with me and he was one of the great guys.
Definitely number two.
There you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, with that, I do have just one more question for you, Joe. And I mean, this has been incredible so far, so insightful. And I know our listeners are loving it as much as I am. But just to round us out for our listeners here, for those other founders and entrepreneurs who are tuning in and really are inspired by you, what is some advice that you can give them? You know, just starting out on their journeys, or just want to get into business, or just started their business. What's something you could offer them before we wrap up?
For a starter or a founder who's just starting the business, the best advice that I can share them, and I learned this the hard way myself, spend wisely.
Mm,
And for the business owner that is working through the business, learn how to sell,
mm.
learn how to negotiate, learn how to build rapport, learn how to show true value in what you have, allowing other people to make a decision to buy from you.
I absolutely love that. Well, with that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode here of Founders Future. Joe, I just want to thank you again. I mean, a remarkable journey so far. The insights that you shared with us today are definitely not going on deaf ears. I know our listeners loved it, and you're probably going to be hearing from some of them after we upload this. And to our listeners, if you did enjoy this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.